Hi. I've been narrating creepy stories online for almost a year now. I've even written a few of my own. The thing about recording these readings is that I always have to slip myself into the mindset. I have to become the character that I'm reading for. Their fear, their rage, their desire. I make myself feel those things too. It used to be difficult, but it's gotten easier and easier now. On the one hand, it's a good thing for doing these readings, but on the other hand, it's scaring me. I'm scaring me. I've always had these really dark thoughts. It's just how my mind works. I've suffered from bouts of depression since I was about 8 or 9, and combine that with the fact that I can really only express myself creatively. You can guess that my imagination can get a little, well, screwed up. The thing that makes people snap. The thing that's in somebody's mind that makes them just lust for a kill. It's always fascinated me. I try to empathize more than a normal person should. I try to understand and put myself in their position. What would I do? How would I do it? And would I be able to go through with it? Sometimes I really wish I wasn't like this, but I find this weird comfort in dark things. I like the things that make you feel uncomfortable. I love that feeling. Because not everything is rainbows and sunshines, and pretty, pretty pictures. I'm okay with that. I noticed something was changing about me when I had trouble getting out of character. After recording a reading, I felt like that persona I had slipped into was taking over. I felt unhinged. But then I lost an hour. I don't know what I was doing during that time. All I remember is that one minute I was finishing up editing and recording in my office, and the next I was standing in my bedroom. Later that night, I found one of the kitchen knives stuck between the couch cushions while I was looking for the TV remote. It sliced up my thumb pretty bad, and I got blood all over my couch. But knowing what I know about these stories that I read, knowing what I know about this situation, I didn't just write it off. No, I didn't ignore it, thinking that I just had some kind of mental relapse while cooking dinner. I didn't lie to myself. Something was wrong. I lost an hour. And in that time, for whatever reason, I put a knife in my couch. It's been going on for 5 months now. I'm too scared to get help. But I know I need to. I keep having these blackouts and losing more and more hours more and more often. My clothes in my closet will be completely organized in this maniac OCD order. Same with my kitchen, my bathroom, my laundry room. I'm not obsessive compulsive like that. It's not typical behavior for me. I mean, let's be honest. All of a sudden having a nice house and organized isn't exactly something to be complaining about. I know, but it's not just the organizing. There's things that evidently I'm doing during these blackouts that are concerning. I don't smoke, but I found a carton of Marble Lights in my car. My nails are always bitten down to where my fingertips hurt all the time. I never bite my fingernails, but now the tips of my fingers are all red and scabbed and just a mess. Sometimes I snap out of it for just a few moments and I'm standing in the middle of this wide open field a few miles away from my house. I'm alone, just standing there, staring at this tree about 100 yards away. Then I have another blackout, and the next thing I know, I'm standing in my shower. Okay, 2 weeks ago, I woke up with arms draped around me. I don't know who they were, but they definitely knew me, and said they'd call me later. If they did, it wasn't me that answered. I can't even begin to tell you how violated that makes me feel. But it's not like I could go to the cops about it. They don't know when it is me and when it's not me. And I know if I try to explain that to anyone, I'm liable to end up locked away in an institution. Or be called a liar. And then to top it all off, the journal. Its handwriting so small, I'm surprised a human actually wrote it. It looked like my handwriting, but different. Wrong. There were insane ramblings about being impure and wrong and having to rectify the situation. Then it turned into shadows and demons and voices and other crazy paranoid sections mushed together that I couldn't keep up with. None of it made any sense. Between the insane ramblings were drawings of screaming men and women, bound and bloody. I've been drawing all my life, and I know my style of what I create. These drawings were done by my hand. There's no question in my mind. In the past couple of weeks, I've been getting things, little flickers of something in the corner of my vision. I think I'm getting sick. I feel weak and queasy, and my balance is off. My stomach is always sick. It reminds me of the one time I got food poisoning when I was 15. I tried not thinking of what that sounded like. I couldn't face that. But I knew something was seriously wrong with me. That field was always in the back of my mind. The one that I kept waking up in. There was always something off about that field. So I went there last night. I drove out, took a flashlight in, and I walked all the way out to that tree. You know when you have that I've gotta do this feeling? You don't really know the reason, but you just have to do that one thing. Otherwise it's just gonna bother you for who knows how long. As soon as I reached the tree, I had that feeling. There was this big rock resting about 2 feet away from me, and the tree. It was almost too heavy to move, but I managed to roll it to the side. I started digging, having to use my hands right where the rock had been lying. I got about a foot down into the dirt, maneuvering around roots and scooping handfuls of soil out of my way. But then I stopped for a moment, and I really started to think up to myself, what the hell am I doing? But I shoved the thought out of my mind. There had to be something there. There had to be. And I was right. It looked like it was covered in foil or mylar or something. It looked like the top of a box. There was a handle, so at that point I just said screw it and pulled it out. It probably weighed about 10, maybe 15 pounds. I think I sat there and stared at the large silver box for maybe 5 minutes, trying to decide if I really wanted to see what was inside. I took a deep breath, and I opened it. Inside the silver insulated box was a cooler. I knew how this looked. I knew how this story was going to end, but I was still trying to tell myself everything I could to not think about what was really happening. Inside the cooler were jars. My entire body shook as I took them out one by one. Inside the jars were what I could only assume to be bloody pieces of organs and flesh and muscle. Like I said, I'm too scared to get help. I can't be locked away. I can't. Anyway, the next thing I knew, I was in the middle of my living room, covered in dirt with blood all over my hands. I'd blacked out again. There was this taste in my mouth. It was familiar, but nothing I'd really acknowledged before. I ran into my bathroom and frantically started washing the blood off my hands. It was hard to breathe or process what I didn't want to process. But then I looked into the mirror. Reality was like a white-hot knife being plunged into my gut. That same thick, dark blood that had coated my palms and fingers was smeared across my mouth and cheeks like some horrible war paint. I screamed. But I didn't scream because I knew what I had done. I didn't scream because I finally had to face my reality, because there was no way I couldn't deny it anymore. No. I screamed because when I imagined myself doing those things that I was doing in my blackouts. My mouth watered, and I licked the blood from my lips. I wanted more.